everyone, this is Chaka here, and I am very sorry for not uploading in a while. I'm a senior now, and even though I am homeschooled, I have had a very large workload, and I've also been working on college applications, so I have not had a lot of time on my hands. But I have this week off, so after 2 days recuperating, I played a bunch of We Happy Few, which is one of my favorite video games. I felt that I wanted to make a video, and since I feel that I am much more qualified to talk about film than video games, I wanted to give you some of my holiday favorites. Hopefully I will also do one of these next year if I remember, because there are still a lot of holiday films I haven't seen, but these are some of my favorites. I have some conventional ones and hopefully some more obscure ones, so maybe you'll find some that you want to watch. So to start off, I of course have to start with It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life came out in 1946 and stars Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed. I adore Jimmy Stewart. I've loved him since I was a little kid. It's a Wonderful Life is one of the first classic movies that my grandma showed me, and it's just I gotta say, if you want to see me cry for any reason, just watch a Jimmy Stewart movie with me. My favorite Jimmy Stewart film is actually Harvey, but It's a Wonderful Life is a close second. Also, I think I forgot to introduce, we have Rudolph with us here. I got Rudolph at Build-A-Bear like a really long time ago, and he actually still works, I think.
My name's Rudolph. Hi.
He has a little beating heart inside him too, and I think that works. One time I scared myself because I was leaning on him while I was asleep, and then all of a sudden I hear boom 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 boom. Anyway, back to It's a Wonderful Life. This movie is so wonderful. Jimmy Stewart plays just a wonderful guy. You know, he's got some guilt. He always has wanted to leave this town that he's stuck in, but everything keeps coming in the way. And one night everything's just going wrong, and he has his family, and he decides he wants to off himself. So he gets ready, but an angel comes down, and this angel hasn't gotten his wings yet. And so the angel shows him what the world would be like, what his little town would be like if he had never been born. And it's just there's not a lot of kindness without him, and it's a wonderful story. It makes you cry. It's just a really good holiday classic that I always recommend. I love it a lot. So next, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is the 1966 version with Boris Karloff narrating. This is it's such an easy watch. It's short, it's colorful, it's beautiful, the music is wonderful. Boris Karloff just brings the Grinch to life. And of course we have that famous song sung by Thurl Ravenscroft. It's just, I really love the Grinch. I'm not a huge fan of the live action one because I feel like it's such a short story that to stretch it into a full-length film, you don't really need to do that because you have everything in the original story, and they really showed that with the special. It's just, it really shows how Christmas, you don't need anything else. You just need each other, and you need love to celebrate Christmas. You don't need all the presents. It's wonderful to have them, but you don't need them. You just need to have someone, with you, or just yourself if you love yourself. And I love it. I love it a lot. I love Boris Karloff, obviously. I'm a huge fan. I adore that man. So having him, I think actually it was when I really realized that he voiced the Grinch that I fell so hard for him, because I'm like, oh my god, you! So yeah, highly recommend, always rewatch the Grinch. Next, obviously, we have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came out in 1964. It was produced by Rankin and Bass, but it's one of the few things that they produced that neither of them directed. And you can kind of tell. But Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, obviously, I have actually a lot of the Rudolph toys. On my big shelf up here, though, the first one I rescued, oh, there goes Lenny. That's okay. I rescued my little Sam the Snowman because I love Burl Ives so much. And so yeah, it's just Sam the Snowman telling us all about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's got Hermie and Yukon Cornelius and all those funky characters and a lot of wonderful songs. My favorite song is the Misfit Toys song, The Most Wonderful Time of the Year, because of the way it starts. It's so mysterious, and there's something so personal about the way that older studio choruses sounded, because nowadays, I'm sorry, I'm gonna sound like such a boomer right now, but like nowadays when I try to listen to chorus music, it's electronically corrected. But with older studio choruses, you can tell that it's just a bunch of people huddled around microphones, and I just like that sound a lot more. It sounds more like people singing. So yeah, Rudolph is great. It's definitely got some yeah in it, and it's hard to watch everyone be so mean to Rudolph. But it's a great classic. Hermie is one of my favorites. My girlfriend and I have concluded that my personality can be distilled to two Rankin Bass characters, and it's Hermie from Rudolph and Felix from Mad Monster Party, which, if you haven't seen Mad Monster Party, you oughta, 'cause it's a trip. And keeping with the Rankin Bass theme, the next holiday favorite I have is The Year Without a Santa Claus, which came out in 1974. Here we have Mickey Rooney as Santa, which is, he also did Santa in Here Comes Santa Claus, so he got a little stuck in the Santa role, and I think he was actually in one of the Silent Night, Deadly Night films. I think he was in like number 5, and he's also a Santa-esque character there, so poor guy got a little pigeonholed when he got older. And it's also got Shirley Booth as Mrs. Claus, but everyone knows the highlight of The Year Without a Santa Claus is definitely Snow Miser and Heat Miser. That's who we all go to see. I'm a big Snow Miser guy. Snow Miser is who I aspire to be. But anyway, The Year Without a Santa Claus, you know, Santa Claus is depressed. He doesn't believe that there's Christmas spirit anymore. So Mrs. Claus sends 2 elves and 1 reindeer to Southtown, USA to look for Christmas spirit. And they meet a little boy. And things happen. Santa Claus sings a song called I Believe in Santa Claus, which I'm like, good for you, guy. Believe in yourself. But yeah, it's a great holiday special. I hesitate to say it's timeless, but it definitely has stuck with a lot of people because, damn, the Snow Miser and He Miser songs are such bops. Okay, breaking with our oldies but goodies, here I have Scrooged. Scrooged is a 1988 comedy starring Bill Murray and Karen Allen. So Scrooged is obviously a take on The Christmas Carol, which is a wonderful story. I think it's my favorite Charles Dickens book. I love Scrooged because it's so unafraid of itself. Bill Murray he works at a television company, and he's just a mean person. He only looks out for himself. He's very aggressive, and he gets visited by his former boss, who's basically the Jacob Marley stand-in, and then he's visited by 3 spirits, obviously. I remember when I was little, I adored the Ghost of Christmas Past because I wanted his hair. I realized, I think, honestly, one of the reasons I'm gay is because I loved him so much. When I was little, though, this movie frightened me a little bit, but it's also got the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Robert Mitchum in it, and he plays Bill Murray's boss. And it's got Bobcat Goldthwait in it, and he's great. It's really good, and it's such a wonderful, unique take on the Christmas Carol, because I think nowadays there have been so many straight Christmas Carol adaptations that in order to make yours really pop, you gotta do something different. You gotta make it your own. And Scrooge really does that, so I highly recommend it. It still makes me laugh. It's hilarious. It's heartfelt. Bill Murray's speech at the end, you really feel it. You really feel it in here. And it's got one of my favorite moments is just Robert Mitchum yelling, "Butthead!" Don't worry, I'm gonna gush about Mitchum later. So next I have We're No Angels from 1955. We're No Angels was remade with Robert De Niro and Sean Penn, but I like the original more. Humphrey Bogart, Peter Ustinov, and Aldo Ray play three cooks who have escaped prison. One of the big prisons, I can't really remember. And they crash with this family. And the family owns a shop in this little seaside town, and they're having a lot of financial trouble. And the crooks, they were gonna rob them, but now they're like, oh crap, now we gotta help them. So they make a really nice Christmas for them, and like evil relatives come and the crooks take care of them. And I don't know, there was a lot of wonderfulness. Like, I love Humphrey Bogart so much. I just adore him. And I love Peter Ustinov too. I did not know Aldo Ray before this film, so I don't really have a lot to say, but his performance is really good. I like movies that let Humphrey Bogart be funny, because he could. He was really good at comedic timing. They just didn't really let him. Like, you can see it a little bit in The Big Sleep and in The African Queen, but We're No Angels is mostly comedy, so you got to see Bogart do mostly comedy. It's Technicolor, it's a little sappy, but it's really heartfelt, and the more I mull it over, the more I enjoy it, and the more I'm like, oh, that was a really cute movie, and I like it a lot. So I would highly recommend that one. Next, we have Black Christmas, which came out in 1974. It has Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder, and John Saxon. John Saxon, who played the cop that we all wish existed. We wish every cop was like how John Saxon played cops. Black Christmas is a horror film, and it is undoubtedly one of the best slashers I have ever seen. So it's about a sorority house. And you meet this girl and you think she's going to be our protagonist, but it's kind of a red herring because she gets killed by plastic wrap. And her body is taken to the attic by this unknown killer. And the sorority house keeps getting harassed with obscene phone calls. And it just kind of goes from there. Like, the murdered girl, her father shows up. And it's really, really impactful. And it's such a feminist film, Like, our main character, Olivia Hussey, her whole storyline with her boyfriend, like, her boyfriend wants her to, like, give up her life to be with him. And she's pregnant, and she wants to get an abortion. And, with all the stuff going on in abortion, especially in the 70s, there was Roe versus Wade and all of that. So to have a movie centered around a protagonist who wants to have an abortion, and the movie supports her in this. It shows us how, it's her life, and she wants to be able to live it before settling down, and it doesn't both sides it or anything. It's just on her side the whole time, and that's really smart. And then in this backdrop is a really, really frightening slasher film. The kills are brutal, and the villain, the Billy, is so, so scary. I'm going to spoil it just a tiny little bit, but there's this moment where you never see Billy in the full. A lot of it is from Billy's perspective. So there's this one moment where you see her, our protagonist, she's in her room, and the door is like cracked, and you just see Billy's eye looking through the crack at her, and she runs down the stairs, and he runs after her, and he grabs her hair, and I swear to God, I screamed. I never scream when I'm watching horror films because I've seen so many now, but I was just like, because he was so fast. Slasher villains aren't supposed to be that fast, but he was. And it's so smart. It's on Shudder. I highly recommend you watch it. It is an amazing horror film. And to brighten things up, here we have Holiday Affair, which came out in 1949. And I said I would talk more about Robert Mitchum because he's in this movie with Janet Leigh. Janet Leigh works as a comparison shopper. She goes and buys this train set, brings it home. Her son thinks it's for him, but it's not. She takes it back, and Robert Mitchum is the clerk who sold it to her, and he's like, I kind of gotta turn you in. And she's like, please don't. I'm a war widow, and I need to support my son. And he's like, okay, fine. Meanwhile, she's seeing this other guy who's sweet, but she's not really in love with him. And it just becomes a love story between her and Mitchum. It's got some really delightful comedy in it, honestly. I like it. It's like situational comedy. Some of it's a little awkward, but it's really great. And Robert Mitchum, it's nice to see him not play a villain. It's just really, really lovely and cuddly and funny, and I would highly recommend it. Alright, Night of the Comet, 1984. This stars Catherine Mary Stewart and Sharon Farrell. Night of the Comet is a zombie film. A comet, strikes Earth, killing everyone. And our protagonists are some of the only people left, and it just takes place during Christmas. It's a wonderfully 80s film. There's a lot of great confrontation, a lot of fun, great costumes. I don't really have too much to say on this one, but just check it out. It's really great. Now we have A Cosmic Christmas. Now, I don't know if any of you know about Nelvana Animation, but Nelvana Animation put out the wonderful Rock and Rule, and that's probably their most famous work, but Night of A Cosmic Christmas is a take on the Three Wise Men. Excuse me, it must have been all the cookies. A little boy and his pet goose, for some reason, come across a spaceship that has landed, and these three aliens have been sent to Earth to learn the meaning of Christmas. So the little boy tries to show them around, and this is what Christmas is, but unfortunately all he gets to show them is consumerism and arguing and stress and crime, until the little boy and another little boy fall into a lake. And everyone has to form like a human chain to get them out. And this is when the aliens finally start to, realize what Christmas is about. It's about helping people. And it's a wonderful sci-fi film. The animation is lovely. The music is lovely. The full thing is on YouTube. Not enough people have seen it, in my opinion, so I would definitely recommend giving Cosmic Christmas a try. We're almost done, I promise. I'm talking myself silly. Trading Places, 1983. Trading Places is an essential rewatch for me almost every holiday season. I watched it the first time in middle school when I had a huge crush on Dan Aykroyd. And let's be honest, he looks his best in this movie. So it's got Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Denholm Elliott. Now, Dan Aykroyd is this rich, just playboy guy. He is engaged. He works for the Dukes, who are extremely wealthy, and Eddie Murphy is extremely poor. And the Dukes think it would be funny if they switched them. So they fire Dan Aykroyd, get him and his fiancée to break up. They force Denholm Elliott, who plays his butler, to, kick him out of the house, and they freeze all his accounts. And they give Eddie Murphy his house and give him all the money and give him Dan Aykroyd's job, because they want to see, what's going to happen. And despite some extremely unfortunate scenes, mostly, there is blackface in this movie. It's not minstrel show blackface, but it's still extremely awkward, and I usually end up fast-forwarding. And there's a really uncomfortable rape joke, and there is repeated use of slurs, and it is eventually a Reagan-era victory where it's like who has the most money wins. But it's also really interesting. It's a really interesting film. It has a lot to say, and it's a really good holiday film, so I would always, recommend watching it. Yeah, I really like that movie. And we have The Muppet Christmas Carol. This is our last one. The Muppet Christmas Carol came out in 1992 and has Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge. It's a pretty straightforward adaptation of the novel, but it's with the Muppets, and there's some great music. So I would just always watch the Muppet Christmas Carol. And another Christmas Carol adaptation I actually really like is Mickey's Christmas Carol with Scrooge McDuck, because that one actually makes me laugh. And I guess it's kind of, I'm always just like, if Mickey can tell the Christmas Carol in 20 minutes, so can you. So I do have some honorable mentions. There's Dial Code Santa Claus, or Code Père Noël, which came out in 1989. That's kind of a French horror film. The director accused Home Alone of stealing his idea, but I honestly don't think that really has any basis, because Code Père Noël is extremely different. But it's really frightening and extremely creative. There's Here Comes Santa Claus, the other Rankin Bass with Mickey Rooney as Santa. All of the Other Reindeer is a Matt Groening special based on the book. And I really just recommend it because Dan Castellaneta gives his all as the evil postman, and he's got a song called Christmas, Bob Buggin' Home. And it's just great. It's totally the robot devil from Futurama. There's, of course, the classic Miracle on 34th Street. That's always a good rewatch. Christmas in Connecticut with Barbara Stanwyck. It's great, wonderful. Home Alone, always rewatch Home Alone. I would have talked about it in this video, but everyone's seen Home Alone. Christmas Horror Stories, I think that is the anthology with, it's an anthology and it's got a killer Santa and a bunch of stuff. It's not stellar, but I kind of prefer it over Krampus. Another horror anthology that I like is All the Creatures Were Stirring. It's got the budget of a tube of toothpaste, but there are a couple of the stories that are really fascinating. I think it gets a lot of crap because of how low budget it is, but it's a good watch in my opinion. And On Her Majesty's Secret Service, best Bond film ever. He even says Merry Christmas 007, so it's a Christmas movie. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed my, not list, but I guess my ramblings and found it helpful. Also, please subscribe to the Pumpkin Core Horror Movie Podcast run by my friend Anthony. I have been on 2 episodes so far. I talked about Spider Baby and The Beast with 5 Fingers, and I was also on his Christmas episode, which he's going to be uploading soon, and we talked about Gremlins, Black Christmas, and Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. So please give him a look. I've been having a blast being on his podcast, and I really hope he invites me again. So anyway, happy holidays to everybody. Remember to like and subscribe. Bye!
Do you believe in kissing, honey? You bet I do. Well, I believe in kissing, honey.